He held hundreds of balloons for years and years. In fact, he had the world's record for holding the most balloons for the longest time. And he would never let him go. He was very popular, very famous throughout the world, and he was called the Balloon Man. And one day a cruise ship line came to him, and they said, you know, we'd like you to advertise for us, and I think it would be a great advertisement if you went on board our ship and you could cruise for a week and just tell people what cruise line you've been on. And the Balloon Man said, great, I haven't been on a cruise for a long time. So he left his house, he got on board his pickup truck, which he usually traveled on because the balloons wouldn't fit in any vehicle or any cab of a pickup truck. He had to be in the back. And as he was going to the cruise ship, people would wave at him, and he'd wave back and smile. He was known far and near. He got to the cruise ship, he got on board, everybody was applauding, the news cameras were there, CNN, Fox News, they were all just wanting to interview him. He says, I'll interview you later, I'm going to go on my first cruise. He was so happy. The cruise liner left the docks, and it started to travel out into the ocean. And a steward came to him and said, well, we have a magnificent meal fit for a king. The CEO will be there, the captain will be there, and they want to honor you. And he said, great. So he went to the galley of the ship, but there was a problem. That door was so narrow. On ships, doors are very narrow. They don't make them wide. And he says, well, I can't go in there because at my home, my doors are wide. And I can live in there, and I can move my balloons from room to room to room, but I can't go in there. And the steward said, well, the cook isn't going to let the food come out here. They want you in there. And he was looking in there, and there's lobster, steak, the best foods of the world, the best fruits, everything available. He said, I can't go in there, and I'm hungry. And the steward said, well, on the back of the ship, got hot dogs, hamburgers, fried chicken, but do you really want that? And he says, I'm not going to let go of these balloons. So he went to the back of the ship. And instead of having the lobster and the steak and the great banquet they had for him, he just had junk food. The sun was setting, he was getting tired, and he says, well, I want to go to my room now. The steward showed him his room. And the room was fantastic. In fact, it was the captain's suite. It had a jacuzzi, it had a sauna, had mirrors around the room, had a water bed. It was the most beautiful room he ever seen. But there was a problem. The door was very narrow. He could not get in with holding his balloons. He says, I can't get in there. All my balloons won't fit in. The steward says, surely you're going to come in this room. Why, this room is meant for a king. It's the captain's room. And we let dignitaries sleep in here. He says, I'm not going to let go of my balloons. They mean too much to me. He ended up sleeping on a lounge chair on the deck. And for the whole 7-day cruise, he ate junk food and he slept on a lounge chair on the deck. At the end of the cruise, the ship came on port. The newsmen, the TV stations, the cameras were all on him. He was holding on his balloons, and they said, how was the cruise? He said, oh, I don't like that cruise. It was horrible. Bad food, bad accommodations. And he left the ship and went home. Now the cruise line got bad publicity about this. The CEO of the cruise line went to his house and says, you know, you've got to come back. We're going to give you another cruise, but the only thing is you've got to let go of those balloons. He said, I can't let go. He said, I will give you $100,000 more if you let go of the balloons. Now the man didn't have a whole lot of money because he didn't work. He couldn't work holding on those balloons. He just got donations from people. He said, well, I sure could use the $100,000. And the cruise line CEO said, you have to let go all the balloons. And he agreed. So a week later, he went back to the docks, and again the TV news cameras were on him. He was waving at everybody. The kids wanted autographs, and they said, "There's the Balloon Man!" Very famous throughout the land. He went on board the plank, he went on board the ship, waved at everybody as the ship left the docks. Again, the steward, the same one, said, "Are you ready now?" He said, "Well, yeah, but I'm going to hold on to balloons as long as I can." He says, "Well, it's time to eat." Again, the CEO, the captain, presidents from around the world want to greet you because you're so famous, but you've got to let go. He went up to the door of the galley. The door again was narrow. The steward said, "Are you going to let go?" He said, "I said I would." And he had to take two hands, let go of one finger, and he didn't want to, and one finger went out. The steward said, "You can do it again, just one more." Put another finger out of his hand. A bunch of balloons went away, but he is still holding on. He said, "I can go." "No, you agreed you let go of all." He said, "I can't let go of them all. This is my life. This is who I am." The steward says, "You've got to let go of them all." He said, "Well, maybe I can just do the hot dogs and hamburgers." And the steward said, "But what about the room? You're going to be on this cruise 7 days. That beautiful room we have waiting for you. You can't go in till you let go." And with the help of the steward talking to him, convincing him, encouraging him, he let go of another finger. A whole bunch of balloons went up. He says, "What are you doing to me?" He says, "No, you're doing it. 2 more fingers to let go." "I can't let go. I got to hold on. This is who I am." He said, "Let go." He released the 4th finger. More balloons went up. He only had a few left. He says, "I'm going to go." "No. The CEO, you agreed. All the balloons." Kind of wish he didn't, but he was hungry. He didn't want to have the same experience he had before. So the steward said, "Come on, you can do it. You can do it." He said, "But people know me for who I am by these balloons. If I let go, I'm a nobody." The steward said, "No, you are somebody. You don't have to have the balloons to be anybody. You are who you are. Let people accept who you are." Finally, the 5th thumb opened. The rest of the balloons went away. As he looked and the balloons floated up to the sky, he wept. He grieved. This was my life. The steward said, "Oh, but you have a much better life after this." The man went into the galley. He had the meal they prepared for him. Later that night he went into his suite, the captain's suite. He had the best bed. He had the best things he could ever have. And the rest of the cruise was great. When the cruise is over, he told, and it went back to the dock, he told everybody, "This was the best cruise. This was the best that ever happened to me. But I had to let go." And you know, with drugs and alcohol and with other habits, we've got to let go. We can't hold on to 1, 2, 3. We can't hold on to anything. We can't hold on to the past. We've got to let go. If we don't let go, and if we hold on to even one thing, we're going to get sucked right back into that lifestyle. If you're recovering from drugs, alcohol, any bad habit, don't hold on to any part of that old life, because I guarantee you, as long as you hold on to even one thing, you're going to go back to where you were.